Good morning, guys. It's Wolfram here. Today we're doing something a little different. This one's gonna be a little more casual, for one thing. Another thing is that I'm making a tier list. I just thought that, for one, this would be a fun little video to do while I'm still working on the next video. Plus, I wanted this one to be a little more casual, so I'm just gonna record this all in one take, put it out there for you guys. And also, this one is, disclaimer, not going to be a actual like tier list as in how good these characters are. So if you were wanting to watch this as like, oh, which characters are meta, then I apologize because that's not what we're doing here today. I will put in the title that way no one clicks on it as looking for that. Eventually, I would like to do an actual like meta tier list video, but I also feel like by the time I do that, there's probably going to be a crap ton of characters out there. So, but we'll see. Let me sip some tea real quick. All right. Anyway, that's the disclaimer for that, and obviously I'll put timestamps as far as where I'm gonna start, um, and when I start actually talking about the characters. And also, another disclaimer: as I'm recording this video, um, it is indeed morning time, but it is also the newest character that recently came out. For me, is Arboreus. So he's currently online. So we have him all the way up here. I try to organize these in terms of chronological order, and then also in terms of rank. So I'm taking this tier list off of tier list maker. Somebody, I can't remember the name, but I think it started with an S. But once I find out, I'll take a look after I record this and credit him or her in the comment or description. But anyway, let me get a little more comfortable. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so without further ado, this tier list is based solely on my opinion of the character and how much I enjoyed them. And that includes both lore and character, like personality. I am also judging them when it comes to like their voice and stuff. I play the game in English. Unfortunately, right now there's no option to play with Japanese dub and English UI. So I play with both. That's a preference explanation due for another time. But anyway, I'm just rambling now at this point, so without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so for the first character we have on this tier list is the female beast folk thief. This character is a general adventurer, I believe, or a nameless adventurer, I should say. So the first 6 characters here are going to be your 3 stars, quote unquote. And these characters are just kind of like fodder for increasing your stats when you inherit them. But I find that there's a few of them that I actually enjoy out of these. The female beastfolk, we're going to start right in the middle here. Neutral. I believe their character, obviously they don't have like any voice lines and they don't have any personality. So this one's really solely based off of design and how they function. I have used this character not very much, but I have whenever I needed a thief, and I sent out all of my other thieves in like my earlier playthrough of the game. Definitely, I think the character is kind of worth an investment if you don't have a thief to use. But there's gonna be better ones out there. but in terms of what I think of them, I think they're pretty neutral. So next we have the male elf priest. This one, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like this guy, mostly because of his design. He just kind of screams like edgy, but like not wearing any like dark clothes, so I guess that's cool. Um, I haven't really used them either, so maybe that's probably cause for you know rethinking on my end. But as far as the design of the character, I don't really like him, so we're putting him in the dislike. Next, we have the male human fighter. This guy is also gonna get a dislike. Sorry, but I will put him above the male priest. And the only reason for that is because he's a fighter, and fighters are really strong in this game right now. Excuse me. um, so yeah, his design's kind of like, again, he's a nameless adventurer, so not really strong there. But where some of these other characters look pretty nice, like this guy's like, run of the mill type thing, which is to be expected. So anyway, he gets a dislike. Alright, next we have the female elf mage. This one I'm actually gonna put in like here. And she is one of the few characters, out of two characters that I actually use consistently. The reason for that is because her element is a dark type, and she's a mage, so she has access to a couple of those dark, I believe it's called Zelos or Zelos. So she's able to deal dark damage as a mage, which is really unique. The only other character that is actually able to do that is Milana here. If you change her into a mage with the subclass, she can learn Zelos and then essentially be the same thing. However, that's only a chance. If you play the game, you'll understand that you can only buy the character class changes from the shop, and they're randomized. There's only 2 of them, which is annoying, but it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, elf mage is alike here. Next, we have the female human priest, and excuse me, she's going to be another like. And the reason for that is mostly because I like her design. I think her character is like, screams to me like cutesy. Being a priest, she has access to pretty much all the priest healing, and I feel like for another thing, priests are kind of like fighter in the sense that they're pretty good. But for a different reason, obviously, they're going to be your main source of mitigation and healing, obviously. So the priests have their specific role. So whether you are down on, like, if you don't have any of the general adventurer priests or any of the legendary ones, I definitely think you can definitely put her in this one, or in your team, if you're missing a priest. So anyway, yeah, so she's going to be a like 2. Next, we have the male dwarf, I believe knight. This guy, I'm going to actually put him above thief there. I haven't really used that guy. Knight right now, well, before the level 60 update, Knights weren't in a good spot. However, they have gained access to something pretty good recently, so now they're good. But again, they have to be above level 50, I believe, to get the skill that I'm talking about. As far as design, I really like the dwarves in this game, just because they look so unique as opposed to dwarves in other games. So I'm mostly putting them above in terms of design. I just like how his beard kind of coming out of the helm. And for the other dwarves, it seems like their eye, at least one of their eyes, gets covered. So that's why he's wearing a helmet. But like, what can he see really? Anyway, so he's gonna get a neutral. I'll probably try to use him more down the road, but we'll see. Alright, and with that, that's all the nameless adventures. So now we're going to get into the general adventures, which are going to be your 4-star characters. Um, Again, I said at the beginning I wasn't going to try to, like, make this a meta tier list, but um, I probably, at this point, am making it a little bit, but it's still going to be skewed towards my opinion. But anyway, so let's get started with Alex as our first adventure. So Alex here is a male knight. I believe he's a fire type, which is pretty cool. I like fire as an element, so that's nice. But um, his design, I think, is really cool. He's like a whole fighter. You can't really see his face, or a knight. His subclass is a fighter, and you get to see his actual face. But I'm gonna leave that as like a surprise for anyone who wants to find that out. Um, but as terms of how much I like this guy, I'm gonna give him a like. And I will put him above the nameless ones just because he actually has a personality. And his personality, he's a good guy, so he's kind of like wanting to, please for the most part. He's pretty, your run of the mill, like a good guy. So just overall, he's a cool guy, especially with the helmet. So he kind of gives me like Solaire vibes from the original Dark Souls, in case you didn't know. But yeah, so that's really all I have to say about him. I'll probably try to use him more often. Next we have Bakesh. He's gonna be a Mel Dwarf thief, wind element, I believe. He is evil, which I don't know if I probably haven't mentioned actually, but I typically like to play as a goody goody. I know it's boring, but that's just how I kind of naturally lean towards. Not like straight good all the time, but somewhere in the good neutral realm. So typically the evil characters I don't really mesh with. So Bakesh, his personality is very like aggressive and in your face. But I actually think Bakesh is pretty like I use him, and even though he is kind of like mean in that sense, I still think he's a cool character because of his design and also for some of the functions that he has. Um, I think his discipline skill increases his disarm for traps on the treasure, so I think that's one good thing he has for him. But I also think he's really cool again in terms of design, so I'm gonna put him in the like. Next we have Ophelia. Ophelia is gonna be a human fighter, female obviously. Um, and to me, again, as you know, fighters, just really like fighters for one thing. Um, so that automatically made her like bumped up. But her personality, um, she's to me an interesting character because where most of these most of the adventurers have like their own um, reason as to why they wanted to become an adventurer. As far as I know, Ophelia just wanted to be like a normal girl for the most part. And I think, if I remember correctly, and I'm probably wrong, but I think she just wanted to be an adventurer to provide for her parents, and then also she wanted to find love. Um, so I think also something in her like dialogue was saying how she just wants to be like a wife or in her lore, but which I think is silly, but also, again, gives her some more depth as far as like her character. Um, that being said, I'm gonna put her in like, um, I would normally probably put her in really like, but I just need some more time with the character, um, to really like kind of scope out the personality. So as far as she is right now, I'm gonna put her in like. Next we have Jean or Jean. Um, I the name pronunciation escapes me, as far as how they pronounce it in the English. But Jean's gonna be a male thief, human, and he's also, I believe, Earth type. Ophelia, I don't know if I mentioned, but she's Wind. So, but anyway, Jean, again, I haven't really spent enough time with this guy either. But initial face value, his design is actually like you would expect him to be, um, you know, maybe on the evil side, but I think he's actually neutral. Um, and he speaks like the way that he also like presents himself. He seems like actually a pretty chill guy. Um, so I actually really like Jean in terms of design. However, I need to scope out again his personality a bit more. So I'm gonna put him in like, but I'll put him right here. Because I have spent some time with Ophelia, but not so much with John or Jean, whatever. So I'll need some more time to figure out if I like really like him or not. Next we have Barbara. She's going to be a female beast folk knight. Um, and Barbara actually, again, I haven't really spent enough time with Barbara. She seems very stoic to me as far as like her personality goes. Um, and also very like reserved, unsure of what she does, basically. I will admit I haven't read the lore of her. I know, I'm sorry. But I do think she looks cool. I mean, all the beast folk kind of look pretty nice, so I will put her in neutral for now. And again, above the nameless adventurers because I think for the most part she has a personality. It's just I need to find it. So we'll put her at the top of neutral for now. Next we have Clarissa. She's going to be a female human knight, and she's pretty cool actually because she also is the light element, which I believe both light and dark have been getting more characters recently, especially dark, but um, there isn't like that much of either type. So for that automatically puts her in like the cool for me. Um, but her personality kind of like a little off-putting initially. I haven't really raised her affinity yet, so it could change. But as far as I know, I do like her design. I like the fact that she is covering her face with the helmet. Um, her voice to me is at first is a little off-putting, but over time I've kind of like I'm okay with it. But yeah, I'm actually also gonna put her in neutral. I think I need to spend more time using the character, obviously. Um, but as far as she stands right now, she'll just have to be in neutral. All right, let me take another swig. And next we have Milana, or Melana, whatever you want to call her. But I'll be saying Milana. But anyway, she's a female thief, elf, with dark type, as I mentioned earlier. And she's also kind of she's an evil character, so her personality is very similar to Bakash. Not quite, but she's very like standoffish and doesn't want to talk with your character. Um, and unfortunately, since my character is skewed towards good, my affinity with all the evil characters is at a slower rate. So my Milana that I haven't raised her affinity enough. So right now, uh, I think she's gonna be put in the like. But I will put her at the top mostly because she was, fun fact, my first character that I summoned. But rest in peace, first copy, because I like immediately uh, threw her into like the inherited skill because I quite didn't know how to use it. So my MC has a useless poison attack, unfortunately. Um, but the one that I do keep around, she's pretty good. I'm hoping to get the mage subclass to use her a little more. But as she stands right now, I'm gonna give her a like, but she might be bumped up a couple notches depending on what I see from the lore. Next, we have Daniel. I feel like this guy is like an unsung, forgotten like general adventure because I actually really like Daniel, and I'm gonna put him up here. So he's a male human priest, and at first his design, like, he doesn't really like. He kind of screams like male human fighter vibes as far as his design goes. But then you like read into his lore, and you just hear how he speaks and like the way he carries himself. Like, this guy's like a goat as far as like the priests go. Um, but I really like this guy. I need to spend more time with him, but as like face value and what I've seen from this guy, like, he's just really awesome. So he's gonna be our first really like. Now, Dino. He's a male elf mage, and I actually really like his design, but right now, his personality is kind of like to me. He kind of looks like if they threw Link in the game. This is how Link would look, but he does not have Link's personality. He's like kind of like a scholarly type guy, Dino. But I haven't really spent enough time with him either, so I'm gonna have to put him in neutral. But I will put him in at the top for now, just because um, he is a wind mage, and I don't think there's a lot of. Oh well, I think he's only one of two wind mages, so he has access to the. I think it's called La Fedu, but anyway, that's besides the point. He gets neutral. Ah, man, Yarmo. Okay, so this guy, face value, again, is where I'm coming from here. But I actually don't like this guy at all. But not enough to put him in trash. I'm gonna put him at bottom of dislike for now. So, hate me if you want. But my reasoning for his placement, at least for right now, and actually, I won't put him at the bottom. I'll put him above the nameless. Um, but my reasoning for it is because I summon this stupid guy like all the time. Whenever I'm pulling for characters, he always shows up, and I just hate hearing at this point anyway. I hate hearing him say, "I'm Yarmo," and like it just bothers me so much. But I will say though, like the fact that I do summon him, like his discipline level right now is like probably maxed out. I haven't checked, but just for the sole fact that I keep getting him annoys the heck out of me. So sorry, Yarmo, but you're gonna be in the dislike for now. But eventually, if I spend enough time with him, maybe I'll actually like the guy. But as far as it stands, he's gonna be in dislike. Next we have Eckhart. But before that, let me take another drink. Eckhart, my guy. He's a male dwarf knight, and Eckhart is pretty cool. He's kind of like um, Daniel in the sense of like his sense of wanting to help and be a good person. However, I haven't spent enough time with Eckhart. I do like that he's the only dwarf, I believe, if and I'm assuming if Redbeard's dark eye, if he like can't see out of it, but he's the only one that has like two eyes showing and a nose actually. Um, that you can actually see, so he actually has better vision than the rest of them at the moment. Um, but I unfortunately am gonna have to put him in neutral for now, just because you know, I need more time with the guy, to be honest. So I'm not entirely sure how much I like this guy. So I'll put him there. Oh man, Chloe. Let me take a minute. All right, Chloe. I want to put her here, but I also want to put her like at the top. I really like. All right, let's just put her here for now. Chloe is a female beast folk fighter. So like, one, she's a fighter. Two, beast folk. I really like the beast folk. And three, her personality grew on me. I actually, and her lore too. If you read into her lore, she's not like a super tragic character, but kind of screams it a little bit. Um, but I really like Chloe, and I use her quite frequently on my adventuring parties. She's like the second party main DPS, along with Elise. Um, and being a fire type, she is in a pretty good spot right now. Excuse me. But I actually just really like her character, um, and her quips, um, both in like the camp and um, when you go to the tavern and things like that. So, because I spend a lot of time with her, um, naturally I'm gonna like her more. Um, so, Chloe's gonna be at the top for now. As I mentioned before, I also use Elise a lot. However, Elise, I'm gonna put her really like, but at the bottom, and only because I really like her design, and I think her personality is, it's okay. I'm not like, excuse me, I'm not like really sold on her yet. Even though, again, I've spent so much time with her, I think her and Chloe are like the same level. Um, but I'm more skewed towards Chloe than Elise. Elise is also a fighter, um, and she's um, an Earth type female elf. Um, and actually, I think the video before this we covered her. So, but I do think Elise is pretty cool as far as, again, her design. So I'm gonna put her here. I'm sure I'll probably bump her up or whatever. But again, really like Benjamin. All right, hear me out. Benjamin, he's got a lot of things going for him. For one thing, he's also a fighter. For another thing, his unique skill is exactly Abanius' skill, except he's a little more accessible. And also, he's a dwarf. I also really like the dwarves in this game. So he's also Redbeard, bro. Like, look, they have the same hue almost. So I actually really like Benjamin, but I'm putting him at the bottom of the list just because I haven't spent enough time with Benjamin. But like right out the gate, like this guy, I really like him. His lore, I'm not very familiar with, so it could change that. Um, but I'm just again the fact that he's a fighter, his unique skill, and his design, like that's all selling points for me. So putting him in really like, all right, Eulalia, female elf knight, water type. Um, she she's also very stoic. Like all the knights you're gonna find are stoic for the most part. Um, and where she, I think where she shines is definitely in like the Den of Fire. Um, but I think water types right now aren't very useful, mostly because most of the enemies that we're facing currently are earth type enemies. Um, but that's besides the point. As far as she goes, I'm gonna put her in like, but kind of towards the bottom, just because I feel like even though I've had her for a while, I haven't really used her. I haven't really needed to use her. Um, so obviously, I'm just gonna need some more time with her. But as far as where we're at with her right now, I'm just gonna put her at the bottom of like, still above the nameless characters though. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to our first thoroughly enjoy. All right, so Olive, she's my first character that I summoned that I actually like kept using since the start of the game. So I have her at max affinity, whatever. Um, Initially, she's a female elf fighter, so wind type, and fighters again. I'm gonna keep saying it. I fucking love fighters. Um, and at first, I thought Olive was gonna be like this like tsundere type character, um, but she just like her voice lines, like her battle lines, she's like a geek, and I really like those kinds of characters that are like kind of awkward, because to me it's kind of cute. Um, and I'm just laughing because I'm just thinking of one of her voice lines where she's like, that the enemies like couldn't kill her boredom or something like that. Like that's one of my favorite lines in the whole game. Um, I also did. She's also the reason why I started the videos. Um, because for one thing, I didn't see many people talking about the characters, but for another thing, I wanted to like just share my, um, you know, opinion and tell people about the characters in this game. So, thank you, Olive, for that. And I've spent again a lot of time with her, so she's gonna be our first thoroughly enjoy because love is a strong word. So we're putting her at the top for now. Also, let me take a swig. So next, we have Amelia, and she's gonna be a female beast folk thief, fire type. Um, she's also an evil character, so she's got a lot going for her in terms of her selling points. But she's an evil character, so my character doesn't really mesh well with her. However, just like Bakesh, I actually do like using Amelia And I think she does have, as far as from my experience, um, I really like her design too, because she kind of looks like all the beast folk have like these interesting, like the way that they have like their tail and the ears is like correlates with some kind of like cat animal for the most part, um, that is like in real life. And I think hers is like a snow leopard almost. Um, but just for that fact alone, I think is really cool. So I'm actually gonna put her in really like as well. Um, excuse me. But also, I've been using her a lot more frequently in like my evil team because I do have an evil team. So I will put her at the bottom. I really like just because again I don't have enough affinity with her to really like tell what her personality is. Um, so I'm basing her mostly on design and function. All right, next we have Emile. Emile's gonna be a male elf priest, just like the nameless one. However, he has a personality, um, and it's as like most of the priests anyway. He is very similar to um, Daniel in terms of like how he carries himself, but to me, Emil just kind of like I don't know, like he seems like he has like an ulterior motive or something like behind the face, which probably isn't the case, but the way that he's presented, um, I don't know, like I don't really know what to think of the guy, so um, I just know that I'm gonna have to put him in neutral. um, Not unsure because I do have an opinion of him. It's more so like I need to gauge him out some more. Um, but again, he could be what I think of him exactly, or he could turn out to be like, you know, just a nice guy. So, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm putting him in neutral. Alright, next we have Galena. Galena is a female priest elf. I think she's also earth type, which isn't, you wouldn't expect. And then she's also evil. So, an evil priest, you would think, she's worshiping some dark god, but I think she's worshiping the same god as all the other priests in this game. Um, but the reason why she's evil in her lore, um, or maybe it's not in her lore, actually in her personality anyway, she's like very like self-centered. And I think at the in the description of good and evil for the Wizardry game, the evil characters aren't necessarily like evil in terms of like, oh, I'm gonna like commit crimes and kill people. Like, obviously, yeah, that's evil. And there is a couple characters that canonically are like that. But the game also describes evil as like characters like Galena who are very self-centered, selfish, just displaying like evil traits. They think of themselves first and then put the others last, essentially. So I wouldn't really say she's like an evil character, but um, I'm gonna put her probably at the top of neutral. Um, I would put her in like, but I have to again spend some more time with her to really see her character. I do like her design, um, but I think she needs. I just need to spend some more time with her. All right, Gaston. This guy. Oh my gosh. I'm maybe gonna get hate for this guy too, but I'm actually putting him in trash. um, Not even the fact that he's a fighter is saving him, and only because I don't like his design at all. I think he looks like the nameless male fighter, but worse. And then also his voice, like voice actor, it's not you, I know, but the voice and the personality combined just is very off-putting to me. So just for that is the reason why I'm putting him in the trash. I do plan on using him. I do plan on, trying to read more about the characters and all that. But I actually just don't like this guy at all. And again, just for his design and the personality. So good job, Wizardry, if that was your intention. But yeah, no, do not like the guy. All right, Eldorado. He's going to be a male elf knight, and he's actually a dark type. Um, so he's a dark knight per se. Unfortunately, there's no like dark knight class, which would be really cool. But um, for Eldorado, I actually really like this guy. Um, and I'm gonna keep him at the bottom there because I'm mostly thinking in terms of his design. I really like how he's kind of like he's a knight, so he has to be like big and buff, right? So he just seems like a yoked elf dude, which normally you don't see that. Most of the male elves are typically gonna be like skinny guys, but he looks pretty jacked. And also, while he is stoic, he does have like this air of um, like loyalty associated with him. So I think that's also a really like cool, um, aspect of him. Unfortunately, I don't have him as like I think my affinity level is just like at the first stage, so I don't really get to see more of like his lore and stuff. But I do plan on seeing more of Eldorado, so hopefully I might thoroughly enjoy the guy. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna place him there. All right, Marianne. Marianne. All right, right there. Female priest, human, wind type, I believe. Um, her unique skill stacks with Way of Priest. So she reduces, I think her unique skills reduces like MP cost 5 spells or something like that. Like if they cost 5 or less, they'll cost even less to use or something similar like that. Um, so that's already broken for one thing. And she's a general adventurer, so that's pretty crazy to me. Um, but she's a priest again, just like fighter. I also like the priests because of the fact that they heal and give buffs and whatnot. But also her personality, surprisingly. Um, her first stage anyway. She seems very. She's like a very money grubby person. But her alignment's good. So like you read her lore, but then as you level up with her, um, you learn her backstory as to why she likes money so much. Um, and because of that, it's actually pretty sad, but also pretty noble of her. Um, so I have her at the like level 2, not the max, but the one just above normal or like the initial stage, whatever. Anyway, I really like her. She kind of grew on me. Her design's like to me, to be quite honest, but it's mostly her personality that bumped her up here. So I really like Marianne. Next we have Gandolfo. Uh, um, this guy is actually really cool. I actually really like his design. He's like another, he's a male human fighter, and he's also like he looks like a gruff mercenary essentially. Um, his personality is, I don't really think much of it, but just for his design alone, I really enjoy. I just think it's cool. Um, but I don't really know that much about the character. Um, so I'm gonna have to put him in at the bottom of like. Again, still above nameless. Um, but I just need to spend some more time with the guy. And yeah, Viviana. I think she's one of the community's fan favorites. I do see a lot of, you know, memes and stuff about her. So the community really likes her. Her design's pretty cool. I do like the blue that she uses. Um, she's gonna be a female human thief. I believe she's a water type as well. Um, and I think her discipline increases like her evasion or something. I don't know. It just helps her being a thief. But she is the greatest thief, as she says. Um, I need to spend some more time with her to like gain more, to understand her character a bit more. Um, but I do really like her. Um, I will put her maybe, honestly, like roughly at the same level of Elise. Um, but I'll just put her right next to her like that. Um, but yeah, I do really like Viviana, but I think I'm just at the level 1 affinity, so I might most likely put her in thoroughly enjoy and see what the hype's about. But anyway, yeah. Valdor. Male dwarf priest, light type. Um, I also really like Valdor. And I have spent some time with him, so I'll probably put him, maybe actually above Daniel. And this is mostly because he's a dwarf. I know that might sound bad, but the dwarves are just so unique in this game to me. Um, and he's kind of like, again, he's like Daniel. All the good priests are pretty much the same. Um, but he's also a light type. His unique skill helps him out as far as um, gain a little more like tankiness. And then on top of the fact that he's a dwarf, he's already going to be tanky. So those kind of factor in as far as like how much I like the guy. So I do really like Valdor. Um, I do also need to spend some more time with the guy, but yeah, he's a really like. Next we have Elda. He's a male elf fighter. I think he's also dark type, and he's an evil alignment. I'm gonna have to put him in neutral, um, but I'll put him somewhere like right here. Um, Elda's a character I haven't really spent enough time with. I do know his voice. He's kind of like snarky almost. And actually his design's pretty neat. He's like wearing like a like all black, like black leather armor. So I think it's kind of interesting. Um, but I don't really know what to make of the guy, so I'm just putting him in neutral for now. Philip, elf male thief, water type. Philip is actually, I really think Philip's cool. Um, but again, I haven't spent enough time with Philip either, so I'm gonna put him here. I like the guy in terms of design. I think he screams like kind of like a best friend, like in like your animes. Like he seems like he's gonna be like the best friend kind of guy, like your main bro almost. Um, so that's why I'm putting him in the like, but I don't really like know his personality that much. Um, so I'm putting him there, and that's all I have to say. All right, two more to go. Asha, Asha. I'm gonna say Asha, or maybe it's Asha. Anyway, Asha. Bam. I really like Asha, and I could say, oh, obviously, there's two main reasons why I like her design, but now hear me out. I do have her at the level 2 affinity stage, so she's like warming up to the character. So, but her her backstory as to why she became an adventurer, and then her dialogue, um, like to me, just really like made me interested in her character, um, and because of that, um, I really like her. The fact that she's a fire mage also really helps her in terms of, you know, from a functional standpoint. But I really would like to see um, what her max affinity looks like, but also her subclass. She's a priest, so she can also function as like your healer too. Um, but yeah, not as I still think Chloe has the upper hand, but I do really like Asha. All right, and last but not least, out of the general adventurers, we have Flute, and she's going to be a female elf mage, water type as well, which, again, I do love like water as an element, but right now I don't think it's like so strong. However, Flute, sorry, Olive. Flute is I thoroughly enjoy, and the reason is solely because of her character. Um, I'm not maxed out with her affinity yet, but her reasoning for being a mage and studying magic, her backstory, and her um, voice lines, her dialogue, her quips, um, to me, I would say I borderline love the character. Um, but yeah, I mean, what can I say? I'm at a loss for words now. She's my favorite character. Out of like the general, I don't, maybe even out of the entire roster. I really just enjoy her as use her a lot in my main party actually. And yeah, there you have it. So that's gonna be all the general adventurers ranked here. Um, as far as their placement, uh, I would maybe move her up, and then maybe move these two up, just because I've spent more time with these characters. Alright, so with that, now let's move on to the legendary adventurers. But actually, let me drink. Alright, so for our first legendary character, we have Geralf. Geralf. I'm gonna say Geralf. I'm going to put him. Now, I will say the community also loves him. But I'm gonna put him at the top of like. I actually don't use him quite frequently. I know meta, in terms of meta, he's like one of the top DPS characters solely because of his special skill. Um, but I actually don't really know much about him other than that he's a part of like a blacksmith family. I know he has like a special quest, so eventually I'll have to get around to doing that. Um, but as far as my experience goes, I need to know more about the guy, so I'm gonna put him in like. I do really like his design though. Next we have Alice. Alice, um, female elf, mage, or priest. Mage is her subclass. And she's an evil character. Again, doesn't mesh with my playstyle typically, but um, I do like her design and her personality. If you read the lore and her backstory, you'll understand why she has like this other, like what seems to be like another personality. Um, and even though typically I don't like evil characters, um, I do really like Alice. Um, I don't want to put her at the top though, just because I feel like I like Chloe and Asha more, or Aisha, whatever. Um, but I have had Alice for a while, so she kind of grew on me as well. Adam. So Adam is another Geralt type. Um, I don't have enough experience with Adam. I do know he's a male elf mage with light. So he has access to some light attacks, which is pretty cool to be honest. And I believe his unique skill um, also like offsets like the disadvantage from the elements. So like if a fire type enemy was attacked with a water attack, it would actually help mitigate that damage. Um, but I also know he has a special quest. So anyway, I need to spend more time with the guy too. So, but I do like his design. I think he's cool looking, even though he's like all like with his brow. Anyway, all right. Yay, Katarina. Yekatrina. I'm gonna say the first one. Um, but she is a human female mage, and I'm gonna put her right in between them. And yeah, Katrina, her, I've had her probably at the same time that I got Olive, I believe. So I've had her for a long time, and I think I have all the lore unlocked, and she's max affinity, whatever. Um, but I would even argue to put her above Flute, but I just like Flute's. Um, I just like Flute like way more for other reasons. But yeah, Katrina is like the more you learn from her lore, like the more that you'll. I was surprised at how important her character actually is to the story of the game. Um, which that's probably a spoiler, but if you have her, obviously use her. She's great, like in terms of meta. She prevents ambushes. Well, has a chance to, which is like almost guaranteed. Like you need her on your team. Um, but solely from a lore standpoint, and her design, like she's god tier. Okay. Um, so yeah, definitely have her. If you have her, use her. Deborah. All right. Deborah is also like maybe she has a special quest, and her design changes dramatically. So I have her in that form, and also I think she's level 2 affinity. But regardless, I'm put Deborah right here. Still below Chloe, but that can change as, you know, time goes on, opinions change. But I do really like Deborah. I use Deborah a lot too. And right now I have her as a knight. Gonna max her out to 60 and then switch her back to a thief. Um, but yeah, I think Deborah's really cool. Initially, um, her first design I thought was really cool, and then she changed into her after you do her special quest. Um, and then like I like her, like I like her design there, but I would prefer if she keeps the mask on, just because she just like it increases her coolness factor. Um, but anyway, that's Deborah. All right, now we have. I know there's two versions of flute, but I'm just gonna use the one version of Lanavel. Um, Even though their personalities are actually vastly different, they're still the same character to me. And if flute didn't exist, Lanavel would be at the top for me. Um, because I actually really like Lana, both of her personalities. This one's gonna be like a little more like main character energy almost. Wants to protect others, and this one's gonna be like very meek. There's like somewhere in like her timeline, there's an explanation. There's a theory that this version of her is before she was a prisoner of war, and then this one is like while she was a prisoner or something. That's why her original design, she has like a chain around her neck, um, which I think I unlocked more of her lore, but I really would like to see the devs like explain that part of her story, like how did she get captured and what exactly happened. Um, at least I can't think of if that's explained in her lore, but anyway, regardless, I love her design. I like both of them, but I'm skewed towards this one. And I like her personality as the Wanderer Princess. Um, so because of that, I'm gonna give her. I just thoroughly enjoy her. Oh, also, and her special skill is like in the same vein as Yekatrina's. Like, you need her on your team because she just at the end of every battle will heal your team, which is not by much, but it helps tremendously. And I definitely feel it whenever I'm using other teams that don't include her. So yeah. All right. Next we have Gerald. Gerald. I'm gonna say Gerald. Uh, Gerald's really cool. He's a knight, male human. I believe a dark type, and his unique skill that he gets is really cool. Um, I'm gonna put him in the same realm, maybe above Alice. And I don't have him max affinity yet either, but from what I've been using him and what I've seen, I really like his character as well. His backstory, I just know he's like, I think he's a noble. He had a brother, um, but I need to look into his lore some more. So I'm probably will bump him up to thoroughly enjoy, but um, initially, I really like the guy. Next, we have Abanius, aka, well, that's probably a spoiler to her character, but Abanius, I'm gonna put her, because I also really like her too, but I'll put her a little below Alice. Um, Albanius to me is like, she's, I really, again, like her design. I like her lore, the reason why she became known as like this, like, magical beast slayer. Um, but yeah, I think she's a little weak out of the legendary adventurers. But I still like her character and design, so she gets this placement. Next, we have Redbeard. Um, Man, I wanted to like the guy. I really did. I love his design. His personality is a little off-putting, and the fact that he's a neutral priest was like a selling point. But he's kind of been like, he's kind of a little bit of a letdown to me. Um, but not enough to like throw him into these tiers. But I'm gonna have to put him at the bottom of neutral just because, like, I'm just so disappointed. I had high hopes for Redbeard. I'll probably like continue to use him more. Just, yeah. Sorry, Redbeard enjoyers. Next we have Kiriha. Kiriha is one of the two ninja classes. And I think I like Kiriha. He's pretty cool. Um, do I like him above these characters? Yeah, we'll put him below the legendaries. I think he's cool. I think he definitely, I need to spend more time with him. Um, but yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that's where he goes. Not much to say about the guy, really. Rin, however, I really like Rin. Maybe right here. I really love her design. She, at least the Rin I have, is a little weak. But I'm solely, again, as far as like her personality, maybe her personality is like a little like off-putting as well, but solely just because she's this like cool ninja, I'm putting her up here. Um, I really want to know more about her lore and what her affinity stages look like. Um, so she's up here mostly just because of how she looks. Alright, the next characters we have, I couldn't find their portraits online for whatever. And I didn't want to go through the hassle of finding them through the phone. But anyway, so Savia, I'm gonna put her in like, um, probably at the top here. Um, and that's her design. I would even put her up here with Rin because I do like Savia's design. However, where Rin's personality is a little more of a blank slate, um, Savia is like kind of like just mean to your character, um, which, you know, some people might like, but for me, I'm just like, meh. So I do like her though, and I do plan on using her more. So that probably could change. And from her lore, it sounds like she might have more than what's initially shown. So especially when you summon her, um, there's definitely something going on with her backstory. So she'll probably get bumped into one of these tiers, but as far as where I'm at with her right now, she's gonna be here. Now, Berkonan, and I think they say Iarumus in the English, but these two are collab characters from a game called Blade and Bastard, and I have not played that game, unfortunately. Um, but Birkanan surprised me as far as like what she was about, and actually, like, bam, I really thoroughly enjoy Birkanan's character. Like, I would even say she might be like fighting flute right now for me, for just because of her personality. Like, the like meek, shy girl archetype for me is like the cream of the crop. Like, you can't see it, but I'm like the making those hands of like, it's just like peak for me. Um, and the fact that she like wants to be, stronger, a better adventure, like all of that combined, and then her. So honestly, like, her personality doesn't really mesh with her design, in my opinion. Um, but I think like she initially wanted to be a mage, but then because she's like this just giant human, like, she's kind of like tanky and more suited to be like a fighter, which is kind of funny. But yeah, just her backstory and her personality is just really interesting to me. Um, but yeah, so I'm putting her in thoroughly enjoy. Then we do have Iarumus. Unfortunately, I have not gotten him. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get him, so I'm gonna have to put him in top of neutral, just because I do really like his design. He does scream like, you know, MC, like edgy guy. Um, but like, he seems pretty cool. And as far as like what I saw in the um, event quest, uh, he there's obviously more to him than meets the eye, but I can't really speak much about him if I don't have him. So fortunately, you're gonna have to put him there. And now Arboreus, unsure. It's the reason why this tab exists. Actually, maybe I should. There. That's probably better. Design wise, like, I would put really like for him, and then I actually thoroughly enjoy Arboreus's design, but I don't know really anything about him because he literally came out like a few days ago. Um, but the fact that he's like a dark elf too, like, he's the first dark elf in this game, so hell yeah. Anyway, this has been a lot of rambling. Uh, um, and I think as far as placement goes, I think that's pretty much it. Like, maybe put a Banius above Alice just because I like her face more. um, and then let's see. Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. So, Flute, Birkanan, all these characters, definitely Flute players. Like, we united here. And Gaston haters, we united. Gaston lovers, I'm sorry, but yeah, I think this is pretty much it for now. Um, I maybe will make one again later. Definitely want to make a actual meta tier list here in the coming months. But unfortunately, just with things, how my life goes, I don't really have a lot of time to make these videos. So when I do make them, it's mostly because I want to. But if you want to see more of like this kind of style, more like casual, not much editing, and just let me know because I definitely could make that pretty much easier than the other ones. But anyway, regardless, that concludes this video. Um, Again, if you like the content, leave a like, leave a comment. If you don't like it, um, still leave a like, but also leave a comment telling me why. Like, don't just be like, you trash, bro. Like, come on, like, explain yourself. Um, but yeah, thanks for watching. And remember, as Wizardry suggests, savor the risk.